Aloha, it's CreativeNameToStandOut again with another battle report. This time it's 2,500 points, Ogre Kingdoms versus my Dark Elves. We rolled up Battle for the Pass. We agreed upon, before the game, that the rock croppings would be impassable. So now that we're playing Battle for the Pass, it's going to be a little bit more trickier to maneuver around them. But that's what we agreed upon, and that's what we're sticking with. So let's go into deployment. We'll start with my opponents. So on his right flank, he has a giant and his 2 units of Noblars in a stupidity forest. In his center, he has Scrag, his level 4 or level 2, and his large unit of Ogre Bulls. On his far right flank, he has his other 2 units of Noblars. On my side, we have my Dark Riders, the Witches with the Cauldron, and then another unit of Dark Riders facing the giant. In the center, I have the Executioners, my BSB, and my General. And then on my far right, we have my Spearmen and a Cold One Chariot. Now, I forgot that the Man-Eaters could scout, and so I should have remembered earlier that I could use my Dark Riders. So I had to, make some in-the-moment adjustments, and so I put the Doomfire Warlocks back here, and I also put the Chariots. So not the best units to have back there, but I had to keep them out of my backfield, and that's what I came up with. So this is what the board looks like, trying to stop those Man-Eaters from getting in my backfield. And this is where he ended up placing them. Right, and so this is another picture of the board and his lines. And then on the side here are all his Gorgers, because he's playing a Scrag list and he wanted to try out using a bunch of Gorgers. So here they are waiting to come in. So we go into my Vanguard moves. I move my Dark Riders up, and then I try to get my Doomfire Warlocks back to my front lines. We roll up to see who goes first, and I win. So let's see how it goes. Alright, so first things first, my ineptitude with deployment is rewarded with a failed stupidity check, so that's just proper. I move my Dark Riders here to just take some pot shots and then set up a flee, and then I just start pushing everything forward. We have the Witches here, and then here I push my Executioners and my Spearmen and my Chariot like so, and it really sets up a very bad situation for my opponent. If he charges my Executioners, he'll probably lose, and if he does stick, he'll have the flank to worry about from the Spearmen. He could charge the Spearmen, beat them, but they'll probably be stubborn, and they'll stick, and then they'll be flanked by both the Chariot and the Executioners. And then he could try to charge my Chariot, but that's pretty far, and if he fails to get there, he'll have his flank exposed to both the Spearmen and the Executioners. So I kind of created a great little trap there for him. With that, I'm done with movement. We go into the magic phase. It's 4 dice to 3. I try to get off an Enfeebling Foe just to really weaken those Man-Eaters, but he stops it. And so then I just throw some dice at Miasma, get it off, and you can see what I get. We go in the shooting phase. I do 1 wound, and that's it for my turn. We'll go into Ogre Kingdoms 1 next. Alright, so the Ogres start off by charging both units of Dark Riders, and this is what it looks like after that's done. He also charges with his Giant, but he fails it. It was a really long charge, but he was just trying to get it if he can. And then here, he decided he would have no part in charging my lines. Instead, he would try to just channel my army into that narrow pass and just take me as I come. But when he went to reform and move, he actually rolled a 10 for his leadership and failed, and so he could not move. So he just reformed as so. He figured if he was going to get charged, he might as well just have every single ogre get their full complement of attacks. After that, his Nobblers move up, and we go straight into the magic phase. Alright, so my opponent first goes for Bullgorger, and I don't really care if he has +1 strength because he's already going to wound me on 2s most likely. And then next he goes for Trollguts, and that's something I don't want to go off, so I stop it. In the shooting phase, his Man-Eaters take aim and kill one of my Executioners, and then we go into Dark Elf turn 2. Alright, so I of course fail another stupidity check, and then we go into my charges, and both the Chariot and the Executioners try to charge those Man-Eaters and fail. And then over here I have my Witches. I could easily charge the Noblars and destroy them, and run into the other Noblars and destroy them, and then take away his right flank. But that's going to be 1, 2, 3 dangerous terrain checks I'm going to have to take on my Chariot if I do that, with no real gain, just killing some 100-point Noblars. So I think I'm hesitant to just charge, and I want to hold up until maybe the charge will net me a bigger gain. Also, I'll take a 4th dangerous terrain check if I reform to face whatever threat is either on my left or right. So after that, we go into my magic phase, and it's 12 dice to 6. And when I get 12 dice, I like to kind of pitter out the spells, allow my opponent to make those hard decisions on what he wants to get through. And so all I really need is one hex to get through on those man-eaters, and it's the Withering. Now that's great if he charges my spearmen, kind of irrelevant if he charges my executioners, but I get that off and get rid of his dispel scroll. We go in the shooting phase. I shoot some bolt shots at the giant, but fail to wound him, and that's the end of my turn. Alright, so here is the beginning of Ogre Kingdom's turn 2, and this is what the board looks like. He declares a charge here with his man-eaters, and this was kind of tricky. He was declaring the executioners as his charge. Now, if he went in there, he could have hit, I think, all 3 units because of how, like, at least a portion of each model could have stayed in a tight line and at least touched each of the units. But we were sure that he could only declare a charge against 1 unit. And so at the most unabrasive way just to hit the executioners, he could pivot and come in and hit the executioners with the corner of that very end man-eater and move no further without touching anything else. And then after that, I could bring in my executioners flush against him. So we decided that was the best thing to do. But please, if he could have charged all 3 units, please leave a comment and let me know. Other than that, the giant charges the witches, and it's a bad matchup, but he makes it pretty easily. And then everything else, oh, these guys show up from reserves, and then the rest of the armies kind of just push up. After that, we go into the magic phase. Alright, so the first spell my opponent goes for is Spinemarrow, which will give the man-eater stubborn, and I become overly concerned with it, too much so, actually. He had no support for those man-eaters, and I had plenty of it. I should have let it go through. And then I should try to stop Trollguts, and thankfully he failed it. Bad dice rolls there. He gets Bullgorger off on the giant. It's kind of irrelevant. There's some Gorgers moving. And so we go into combat, and like I said, he has +1 strength, but he's not even going to get to hit because the witches have poison and so many attacks. It's just not a great matchup for him. And then we go over to the man-eaters, and the executioners go first, and I kill half of them and do a couple more wounds to boot. And they break, the banner dies, and we go into my turn. So the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to charge these man-eaters out of the way. They're going to flee, and they're going to go over this impassable terrain, and the one that was wounded is going to die. And then this is the board overall. I'm going to redirect into the Ogre unit, and I successfully make that charge. And also my chariot hits the first unit of Gnoblars. Alright, and here we are on the right flank again. These Gnoblars are actually holding me up because I don't want to charge them unless I need to, because I don't want to lose that chariot unless I'm doing it for good reason. So they are holding me back, and then I move my Dark Riders to these positions. I'm trying to be brilliant, but in the end, it's just dumb of me. I didn't think about this, and you'll see what I'm talking about. But here I am trying to be strategic, and I'm going to fail miserably. Alright, so my Doomfire Warlocks also move over here to get a shot at these Gorgers, and my Chariot doesn't fail a stupidity check. Alright, so in the magic phase, what I really want to get off is the Withering to help out in that combat with the Executioners. So I throw 4 dice at Doombolt, the low level one, just to milk those dice. I do it, and I get it off. And then I throw 3 dice at the Withering and fail, so that sucks. Here's the Doombolt killing one of the Gorgers. And then we go into shooting, and I kill off some Gnoblars here and there. Other than that, not much of anything. Alright, so here we have the Chariot goes into the Gnoblars, kills a bunch, but they stick due to Steadfast. The Executioners come in here, and I think if I would have hit him in the front, I would have lost this combat, but thankfully I hit him in the flank, take away his rank bonus, and I win there. He breaks, but he gets away. He loses the banner, of course. And then this is what the board looks like at the end of my turn, going into Ogre Kingdom's turn 3. Alright, so in Ogre Kingdom's turn 3, we have the Gorgers charging the front of the spears, a new one coming on, and this guy charging the rear of the chariot. Over here, this is where my tactical blunder came into effect. I was thinking in my mind, okay, I'll put the Dark Riders on the side, shoot at him, he'll turn to shoot them, and he'll expose his flanks to my chariot. I won't even have to take those dangerous terrain checks. But of course, he can still keep me in the front arc and get the Dark Riders in the front arc, so that was just dumb. I thought I was being brilliant, but really I was just being dumb. So there we go. Over here, as you can see in this picture already, the big unit of Ogres unfortunately rallies, but he's in the forest, and I'll get a charge on him. So there we go, and then these guys don't need double ones, but they also don't rally. So we go into the Ogre King's magic phase, and that Ogre unit has just rallied. So if he can get some magic off on them, he can really turn the tide on those executioners when I'm forced to charge them there. But unfortunately, I'm able to contain it with a combination of good play and him having really bad luck. And then we go in the shooting phase, and these next couple pictures just show my various fast cav units taking casualties because of my poor placement. Then we go to combat with the spearmen and the gorgers, and they kill about 10 of them, and I think I do 2 wounds to one of the gorgers. And then the gorger over here with the chariot and the noblars on the other side that you can't see, they get in a fight, but they aren't able to kill my chariot, and so I flee from the noblars, and the gorger in the rear actually runs into my spearmen. So had we known that he was just going to kill the chariot, it probably would have been better to resolve the chariot battle first and then the spearmen. Of course, I probably would have stuck. So this is what the board looks like at the end of the turn, and we go into my turn. Alright, so a situation has arisen where my Cauldron can gain something other than just a 100-point unit of Noblars, so I'll take the chance and charge them. Luckily, I passed my dangerous terrain check, and then the Executioners are just forced to charge the Ogre Bulls, so I do it. And then the Doomfire Warlocks take this opportunity to hit these guys in the flank. This Chariot is still moving forward, but plays no other part in the game, and the General is ready to go into the Magic phase. Alright, so the Dark Elf Magic phase really is highlighted by a irresistible force cast of Miasma on 2 dice. So, yep, get that off, but she's not in base contact with anybody, and that's what the miscast deals with, is if you're in base contact, you take X strength hit. We go in the shooting phase, I move up and don't do anything. Then we go into combat, and the Gorges wreck the Spearmen, I destroy the Noblars, but I stick. And then the witches, of course, run through these Noblars and hit the other Noblars in the flank. And then we go into the main combat with the Executioners and the Bulls. And as you can see here, my opponent rolls really badly. And unfortunately, I don't do too many wounds to him, but I do have enough combat res to beat him. He's not steadfast, he breaks, and I run him down. And so after that, my opponent calls it, and this is what the final looks like. Alright, so as I go over my final thoughts, here's a bunch of pictures of my table I've been working on, some of the training I finished, and of course the new Chaos models I have. I made a little battle diorama where the Chaos have no chance, but you know, I just thought it'd be cool to set up. So, as far as what I did wrong, I mean, I've already gone over some of those things. Early deployment with my Dark Riders, not the greatest. I could have had them in the backfield. Really took out one of my chariots from the game, which was unnecessary. And then, of course, magic phases, that one phase where I focused too much on that stubborn spell, probably not the greatest idea. Probably could have got away with letting him have that off, and really should have focused on Trollguts, and it was really only because my opponent's poor luck in this game that he didn't get that off. And really, I think the game, though lopsided, was fairly close. I mean, I didn't get all those points till that last turn there. And, you know, had my opponent's luck just been a little bit better than it was, he could have made this, you know, uh, list that you don't really see very often work out pretty well, I think. So we talked about it. I think he's going to reduce. Well, I don't know what he's going to do, but I suggested reducing those Noblar units to the minimum because there's really no reason to keep them up to 20. And you know, just play around with it. I like the idea of these gorges coming on the board and causing havoc. Well, anyways, I hope you enjoyed this battle report, and I do appreciate everybody's likes and subscriptions and comments, and thank you for watching. See you later.